here's where we start today. How can we have any faith at all in our government anymore? At least the government we currently have in Washington. Joe Biden and his cast of misfits are officially the worst of my lifetime. And honestly, the longer they hang around, the better they look compared to Jimmy Carter. And he was awful by almost every metric, but slurring Joe Biden, well, he's lowered the bar tremendously, which continues to raise questions about whether or not he'll even make it to the ballot on November the 5th, 2024. But it's not just Biden. It is a cast of characters that is so incompetent. It's hard to conceive how such a low-achieving group of imbeciles could even be assembled. It took real dedication. I mean, you have Jennifer Granholm, a former mediocre governor in Michigan that, as energy secretary, has declared war on appliances in every single room of your home. And her attacks include your gas stove, water heater, air conditioner, your furnace, and the generator you have outside just in case of emergency. And that's, of course, just a short list. Granholm spends most of her time attacking anything that makes our lives easier and more productive under the all-inclusive banner of climate change, to ward off serious questions about her questionable leadership in that department. I mean, the lights are on at the energy department, but Jenny, she doesn't seem to be home now, does she? Pete Buttigieg, the Secretary of Transportation, like everyone else on the cabinet, has no experience at all for the job he currently has. And in fact, he is so unqualified, you have to wonder, how did he ever get through a Senate confirmation? When asked about new requirements for mileage and forced transition to EVs, he usually skips the question and goes to some drivel about equity and opportunity that, frankly, won't exist for anyone if this administration survives for any reason next year. It just seems that Pete's planes, trains, and automobiles are running in circles, unless they're taking him home for another vacation. But either way, you're paying the freight for Pete. Congratulations. Deb Haaland, she's the Secretary of the Interior. She's a Native American, if you haven't heard. And that seems to be about the only qualification anyone could possibly find on her resume. She would like to run a fence, by the way, around Montana and Alaska and place them in permanent park status, just to save the planet, of course. Climate change. Alejandro Mayorkas, he's a real treat. The Secretary of Homeland Security that ignores the fact that just this week, 45,000 illegals flooded across the border in just 4 days. Count them, 4 days, setting all-time records for the ongoing invasion that is not only not slowing down, but picking up speed. Ask the people in Eagle Pass, Texas. At this pace, we will have allowed 10 million illegals into this nation in just 4 years under the failed leadership of Joe Biden, which, as I've told you before, is more people than actually live in 40 of our 50 states, at least for right now. And the list of failed policies and people is longer than I have time for. But one of those people, a man who claims that he has returned credibility to the Department of Justice, that, of course, Attorney General Merrick Garland, he was on Capitol Hill yesterday to take questions about how the Hunter Biden sham investigation was run and how it was hidden from voters leading up to the 2020 presidential election, and how the DOJ tried to sneak a complete sweetheart deal for the president's morally casual son through the back door without anyone catching it. Well, one of the biggest questions, or series of questions, focused on how the U.S. attorney from Delaware, David Weiss, who's now a special counsel, congratulations, Dave, how he was unable to get charges filed against the first son when requested in other jurisdictions. Merrick Garland had no actual answers at all. I know you're surprised to hear this, but here's one failed attempt. Watch.
Quote, Mr. Weiss has full authority to bring cases in other jurisdictions if he feels it's necessary. That was your response, Attorney General, to Senator Grassley's question on March 1st, 2023. You just referenced it when Mr. Bishop was questioning you. Only problem is he'd already been turned down by the U.S. Attorney in the District of Columbia, Mr. Graves. So he didn't have full authority, did he?
I had an extended conversation with Senator Grassley at the time. We briefly touched on the Section 515 question and how that process went. I've never been suggested.
My point's real simple, Mr. Garland. You said he had complete authority, but he'd already been turned down. He wanted to bring an action in the District of Columbia, and the U.S. attorney there said, no, you can't. And then you go tell the United States Senate under oath that he has complete authority.
I'm going to say again that no one had the authority to turn him down. They could refuse to partner with him. They could not.
You can use whatever language. Refuse to partner is turning down.
Well, it's not the same under a well-known Justice Department practice.
But the outcome is just the same.